All right, gentlemen, here is hopefully a fun, enjoyable art history assignment. It does involve being creative at home, as well as some photography and a little bit of research, all bundled into one. Okay, so this is an art history made modern. How would you modernize or stage people, objects, things in your home and surrounding area to recreate a famous work of art? This is an example I found online several years ago when I had done this, and it's amazing how during the coronavirus, the Metropolitan Met Museum posted people doing this, going online to the Met, which is a museum that you can visit in person, but not right now, but free online. And you could look at different famous works of art, and you could try to reproduce that same look down to the poses, how their arms are angled, what they might be wearing, draping yourselves with things to recreate famous works of art. And people have been posting these all over Facebook. So I thought, well, what a better way to kind of finish the semester with a little bit of art history fun, dust off this old project, and bring it back to life. So your objective, to take a famous work of art, you can choose anything that you'd like, just make sure it is valid. I would say either go to a museum site, or I have offered you sites down below here that you can go to look up various artists and their artwork. This makes sure that you are viewing the original artwork, not some takeoff or spin-off or some really good copy of it. Okay, and you want to capture it, I guess, like I said, with props, with things draped over people for clothing, etc. So let's get into the specifics. Okay, the mediums that you're going to be using is photography, your iPad. You'll need to crop a picture, probably edit the photo with something. The camera feature itself on the iPad allows for different filters. You can change the lighting, the darkness, if you want to make it look like it's old. There's a sepia kind of a filter on there which makes things turn more brownish. You can take it into any other kind of free photo changing app if you want to add some splashes of color here and there, but kind of make it feel like that picture. And you'll be posting to me on Shobi both the original famous photograph and your version of it. Who are you going to use? Family, animals, anybody willing to play along at your house. Okay, that if you need a body, if you got a warm body, use them. Stage this as similar as you can to the one in the main image. How close can you make the people's movements, their angles? We've studied this with our wire figures, right? So you're working with live human figures. So it might take several shots or photographs to get your arm, their arm, the object held at an angle that makes the most sense and captures the most accuracy of the photo. Props. What can stand in for what's seen in the image? Maybe you have the actual object. As the people up above, they actually had umbrellas. This is where you can get modern and creative with making the image more contemporary, more now. This example here, we've all seen this lovely couple before, right? But look how it's been redone. Instead of holding a pitchfork, it's a more popular looking girl with a dress that's sort of similar with the scoop neck and all. She's got a necklace on, so it matches sort of this medallion thing going on. She's looking at him. They're standing in front of a house that has a pitch that's very similar to this pitch. And what's he holding? He's seriously holding a skateboard, modernized. Okay, he's even in some black and white, which kind of gives us that feel of this. The only thing he was missing is maybe a pair of sunglasses, which would have been kind of cool, kind of keep the glasses thing going on. But he's got that kind of a feel, and the position, the looks, everything about that really modernizes. Okay, good lighting, whether you're outside, which is obviously helpful if you have a scene that's outside. You're going to have, choose a decent day to do it between now and the end of the school year. Or the lighting in the room. Bring in more lamps or lights if you need to, so that the picture isn't so dark. Okay, we want to be able to see. Now, if there's a mood in the picture which is somewhat dark and might have one light illuminating, maybe instead of a candle, if there's a candle in the picture, you use a camping light, or you use a flashlight, or you use the light from an iPhone. All right. However, you might need to bring that kind of feeling into the picture. I have to say it just because, I like my job. No nudity. I know there are a lot of famous works of art that show partially naked people up on top or on bottom. Please make sure that you give yourself some kind of closure and coverage in some creative way. It can still be that image, and you are safe, you are covered, and you are not doing anything inappropriate, because I love my job. All right, so be creative with clothes on. All right, get any ideas yet? All right, so let's go into the required stuff. The digital art image that you make and the original artwork both due to Shobi. We mentioned that above, okay? And it has to meet the requirements that we just went over. The written part, okay? Whether you're doing this for a famous painting or a sculpture, totally up to you. You'll need to type a 1-page, double-space, 12-point font covering the following items, okay? A paragraph should discuss the basics, the title of the original work, the date it was created by that artist, who the artist was who painted or sculpted it. And that's information you can find online. If you've already found the picture online of what you want to do, make sure you save it and you've got the information on it. Include brief history of the artist. So research the artist who made or created that work of art. Tell us a little bit about their life. What kind of art movement were they a part of? Were they from the Renaissance? Were they from the High Renaissance? Were they an American? Were they British? Were they Belgian? I mean, there's all different places where you kind of tell us a little bit about them. Death, when did they die? And one interesting fact about their life. So that's going to be a pretty full, big paragraph. Paragraph 2. The artwork that you created. Search the internet for any historical information, critiques, etc. about that work of art. So when you go searching, it might be helpful to start with works of art that already have some of this information about them. Such as, where was the artwork created? Why or what's going on in history at the time that that painting or sculpture was created that might have influenced this work. Ooh, okay. So now we're getting into history. If something happened in the 1500s, and maybe it's a religious work of art, what was the religion and the religious feelings that time? And if it was happening in Italy or Rome, then what was going on in Rome and Italy at that time? Why were those things kind of painted or created? Okay. Kind of sync things up with what was going on in history at that moment in time. I suggest strongly using theartstory.org. And as soon as you get to that site, you'll need to scroll down just a little bit. And at the top will pop up a search window. And you can search for different artists. You can search for different time periods. And then hit send, and it will kind of pull up things from different time periods. And they have little blurbs and information on different artists' artwork. They'll highlight a work of art and they'll tell you a little bit about it, which is perfect for this section, okay? If you're searching for a work of art, you could also go to Artcyclopedia. I kind of have given these to you before when we've done a previous thing, the beginning of the first quarter. Or you can go to archive.com or archive.com, and those 3 places are going to be great. Remember, if you go to Archive, click on Mona and find a little bit more about your artist and maybe a little bit more about their artwork. All right, paragraph 3. Explain your method and your journey to create this scene. Did you have any difficulties finding people? Did you have to pay anybody off? Location issues, could you find a place in your house or outside to do it? Did you have troubles or did you have creativity finding props, etc.? Walk me through your journey, okay? What inspired that painting or sculpture that you chose? Kind of what drew you to it? Well, why did you kind of pick that one? And what did you find the most fun or interesting or frustrating or even funny about creating this assignment? Here are some more student samples. This is a famous setting by Whistler, who's an artist who did a lot of very folk type art. Wow, this is very, very spot on to Whistler's mother that one of the students did. And he used his own mom. The woman seems to be wrapped in a robe. She's sitting in this very wooden chair. She has a curtain, the corner, a single picture on the wall. I don't even know if that picture belongs on their wall there, but if they staged it, that's awesome because it's exactly where a picture hangs in the wall in that painting. So that was just a beautiful setup of that, and yay to Mom for helping out. This one was great. He's a guitar player anyway, so he chose Picasso's guitarist, or old guitarist during his blue period. And then, yes, he filterized it. So he went in, he changed the filters on it, he went to some other app, played around, and he turned the whole thing blue just to make it feel a little bit more authentic to the actual one, okay? Very hard to get your head all the way down there, I believe. All right, so... And then this young man, he used his own sister, okay? He might have bribed her, paid her, who knows? But she's a beautiful girl, and this was probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And they found all kinds of things. They found an old shirt to use for the yellow, white kind of thing going on here, a blue bandana. Heck, I don't know, it could be a sock or underwear. Who knows? Gave her a really nice drop pearl earring. That was perfect. Maybe it might have been Mom's. For that, gave her something large, a brown towel or something to wrap around her. They kept the white collar, just like we see there. All right, wonderful reproduction there. And we got one more for you. This is a famous painting by Jacques-Louis David, and it's not David, it's actually David, accent on a different syllable. And this was beautifully done. It's the murder of a man in a bathtub, and he's been in the middle of writing a letter. There's feathers, there's a box next to him, and he's been bludgeoned or murdered somehow, and there's all this fabric and cloak. It's wonderful, all of his different stuff. Wish we could have cloned that little part out or taken it from a slightly different angle. But yeah, all of his props and things were wonderful because there's all this scrolling handwritten calligraphy too. So kudos to them. So we want to try for accuracy, but we also want to play with modernness. How do you want to modernize? Okay, bring forth the era that we're in, sneaks things in that are more appropriate for our era and time period. So it involves a little bit of history research on your art that you choose, okay? And you might even, like I said, you might start there. Look at some of those sites, especially the artstory.org, looking for famous pictures that already come with some stories and things with them that you might be like, ooh, that's cool. I bet you nobody else is going to do that one. Rather than migrating to some that we might have already covered or already done. Okay, if you have any questions, email me, let me know. I am here to help or to offer suggestions.